Bingi Congo Naya, the RasTafari ombudsman from the RasTafari Council of Great Britain. In Barbados we have Honourable Bongo Spear of the Royal Medal of the Lion, and that's an award which is awarded by Prince Saleh Selassie for loyalty and faithful service. We also have Honourable Barbara Makeda Hannah Blake, and she received the Adowa Centenary Medal in 1998 from the Ethiopia Crown Council. We also have Honourable Dr. Desta Nagu, who okay, well, we're trying to get Desta on. And Desta is the coordinator of a groundbreaking exhibition which is due to premiere in 2014 in Addis Ababa called RasTafari, the Majesty and the Movement. We have Honourable Ras Shango Baku from the Nyabingi National Council and editor of Thunder magazine. We have Honourable Jar Meeks and Honourable Prophet Newton from the EAIBC. And we have Honourable Tony Tafari.
It's the last year first. Take over ambassador. How good and pleasant it is for I to develop in INT. It's like the precious iron on top of I head that run it down to I beard, or in the skirts of I garment. Precious it is like the river Nile that flow from Ethiopia, Mount Zion, Black Africa. And in this, Rastafari has commanded life itinerally. So I give thanks to the gathering, and I give thanks to the Most High Rastafari. And I give thanks to each and every one in here. Because all I and I is oneness. If the foundation upon creation is truth, and we can have many reasonings, but if the foundation is not truth,
Rasta man. But I'd like to thank everyone for turning out today. Some of the people that we had speaking from abroad today, we had Barbara Hannah Blake and Honourable Bongo Spear. They are basically board members of the Rastafari Global Council. So they are basically charged with governing the organisation. And we had an extra person who was meant to speak, who is based in Ethiopia, called Dr. Desta Nagu, but she was unable to speak today because there was a very bad connection. So Desta Nagu, she is basically someone who's leading an exhibition in Ethiopia, which is being backed by the Ethiopian government, the Tourist Board, and Addis Ababa University. And the exhibit's going to be called RasTafari, the Movement, the Majesty and the Movement, and it's going to take place 2014 in Addis Ababa. So that was what she was going to talk about. She also has a project in Ethiopia where she works with young people within Ethiopia, pushing them through school and so forth. She's also been an advisor to the Ethiopian Crown Council and an advisor to the UN. So on our board as the Rastafari Global Council, we have some very significant individuals, people that have been stalwarts within the Rastafari community and have contributed lots of works. Bongo Spear was actually able to get the Rastafari community at the UN, so he gained consultative status for his organisation, which is called Africa Hall Incorporated. And now there are 15 spaces available for us to basically go and speak at the UN. The Rastafari Global Council and the Africa Hall Incorporated are now basically, we are a partner organisation, so we're working together. And our aim today was really to bring Rastafari, the various mansions together to give a public display of unity and dispel some of the myths about the Rastafari community, where many people have said that the Rastafari community is divided. But we're standing here today to show everyone that no, Rastafari is united and we are still a force in the world. As most of you would know, Rastafari has probably been the most significant movement in Black Britain. It has been from the days of the riots and so forth. The Rastafari community are pushed forward for the Black History Month. They've been fighting for reparations, and they've been defending the African Caribbean community. Most people know that the Rasta man is very respected. Even the bad man, when him have him gone, when him see the Rasta man, he would try to hide it. If he's got his alcohol, he wants to hide it because he has so much respect for the Rasta man. So, as I said, my name is Tony Tafari, and I was invited by Honourable Bingi Kongonaya, to basically come and to work for RGC and the RBC as an organizer. So after some reasoning and a bit of participation in the Holy Sacrament, we took up the task of building a broad-based Rastafari community organization with no budget, from scratch. So I knew it would be a difficult task, but graciously took the challenge and set to work. My previous experience gave me skills that were relevant to the task. I am a trained community organizer who gained experience working with London Citizens, a broad-based multi-faith organization that basically works across faiths on social justice projects. Whilst working with London Citizens, I took part in campaigns for a living wage in London and amnesty for migrants. I was lucky enough to travel to the US to research community organizing, and my organizing work led to me being noted in the Independent as one of 10 young, gifted and black. I'm also a philosopher with degrees in philosophy and cultural studies. Many of the other people that were on the young, gifted and black list in the Independent, they are now working in the major political parties, and they're working in some high-flying institutions, but I'm still here with the Rastafari community, grassroots and China, you know, making sure that I don't sell out. So as I said, I'm a philosopher with degrees in philosophy and cultural studies, but most importantly, I am also a Rastafari. I am a follower of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. My stepfather was a member of the 12 tribes of Israel. He was what they call a first Judah, and he was a martial artist, and he introduced me to Haile Selassie. When I was a young boy, I used to go and take part in his martial arts classes, and there was a big, massive picture of Haile Selassie there, and at the beginning and at the end of each session, we used to say our praises to Haile Selassie. So when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I was introduced to this stuff. At the age of 18, I decided to declare myself a Rastafari, and I started to go Manati. I began visiting Rasta International, which was at St. Agnes Place. And I was in a roots band with some 12 tribe elders, where I performed under the name of Negos. So many people still know me as Negos today. I also began to play with the Borough drummers at St. Agnes Place, with elders such as Farai and Ras Charlie. And I was a man always curious, and I began to read wider books after making friends with an elder called Pepe.
I and the brotherhood and the sisterhood of life. I and I are an embodiment of the Holy Grail that the ages have searched and longed for. That peace and harmony that is beyond utterance. That divinity that is our true nature, or divine destiny, and the salvation of earth itself. Now it is said that in my Father's house there are many mansions, and this is as it should be. As in the body there are many limbs and parts, each with its own specific function, to make up the fullness of life, so too within the body of Rastafari, individually and collectively, we all have specific roles to play in the revelation of the times. For those who do not know the houses and mansions of Rastafari, I suggest you look up Google. There has been a tendency for each house to glorify its works and to claim precedence over the work of others. Nyabingi proclaims its status as the first house of Rastafari, an elemental recreation of the ancient order of praising, is known as the EWF, prides itself on its adherence to the written constitution of its Imperial Majesty. The 12 tribes uphold the prophecy of Ezekiel 37, that the scattered tribes will return and be one nation in the land which they will ultimately inherit. The Bobo Shanti, my brothers who are known popularly by that name, often portray themselves as an exclusive body in their righteous search for return to their spiritual homeland as priests and prophets.
RasTafari.
The Orthodox Rastas hold that His Majesty was a member of this church and that we all should do likewise. And then you have the IEWF, who look for the restoration of the imperial throne of Ethiopia. So there are several houses and several mansions that make up the fullness of the houses of Rastafari. Then there are the unaffiliated Rastas, and that is a numerous house. And they maintain their individual and personalized beliefs outside of any particular mansion. There are also ones whose loyalty is across several mansions, and the Global Rastafari Council, Rastafari Council of Great Britain, conveners of this gathering, have also had their credibility called into question. And several ones have had messages from Jamaica asking me, well, who are these people, the Global Council of Rastafari? By what right have they acquired these titles? Over the years, several attempts have been made to unite the houses and mansions of Rastafari in a single organization. Most of these attempts have been temporary, largely unsuccessful, often ending in failure. The One House Bingi celebration, maintained by the National Nyabingi Council and the EWF, Ethiopian World Federation in the UK, is one of the few examples of long-standing continuity and cooperation between mansions working in harmony. Over the past 20 years, Shashamani in Ethiopia has also had some success in unifying around causes and initiatives that impact across mansions. So then we are engaged in a pointless exercise. We are adding another chaotic note to the profusion of conflicting voices that have dominated the planet in preceding millennia. Again, in the words of His Imperial Majesty, this then is the ultimate challenge. Where are we to look for survival, for answers to the questions which have never before been posed? We must look first to Almighty God, who has raised man above the animals and endowed him with intelligence and reason. We must put our faith in Him, that He will not desert us or permit us to destroy humanity, which He has created in His image. And we must look into ourselves, into the depths of our own souls. We must become something we have never been before, and for which our education and experience have ill prepared us. We must become bigger than we have been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owing our ultimate allegiance not to nations, but to our fellow men and women in the human community. End of quote. The message is abundantly clear. Unity within Rastafari is not merely desirable. It is absolutely necessary and incumbent upon I and I to become something new, so as not to repeat the mistakes of the past and the pitfalls of separatist thinking and divisive action. The encircling rainbow throne of righteousness is evident in the skies of Ethiopia. I've seen it myself. It is a rain circle, not a rainbow, complete circle, complete with all the colors and the harmonious elements of nature, a symbol and a sign of eternal peace between man and his universal environment. This is truly Mount Zion, the apex of our aspirations, where the ideal and the reality become indivisible. We have seen and acknowledged it with our own eyes. Now we only need to live up to it. In the olden days, there were 42 negative assertions that were made to cleanse ourselves of sin and wrong against our neighbors, etc. in the ancient Kemet, the ancient Egypt, those who know of these. I have not done this, I have not taken my brother's wife, I have not stolen anything. 42 negative assertions. Then we have 10 commandments, which boil down these 42 into what we know as the 10 commandments. By the time of Christ, there were only 2 commandments. In the reign of His Imperial Majesty, the dictum was simplified and boiled down and perfected and became one love.
Oneness.
One perfect love. Ultimately, love is the law in its singular, specific, simple, and spectacular glory. All else is illusion. Give thanks and praise.
RasTafari.
The story is fascinating. Are you interested? And as soon as I said no, Emperor of Ethiopia living in Bath, you know, her eyes lit up in terms of, okay, yeah, there's a film there. So I started to do research into it. And as a filmmaker, doing research into a subject that's close to your heart. You know, I'm a filmmaker, journalist, etc., but then also Rasta. So doing research into His Majesty, you know, I could find out anything. But there was 100% love that came from all different corners, from Rastas, from, you know, English people. You know, Bath is a very conservative place, any of you that have been there. And obviously we're talking Bath in the 1930s, very different to even Bath today. But every single corner that I hit on when it comes to research had nothing but love for His Majesty. And, you know, doing the research, I had to think, okay, if I hit on something that that's going to contradict how I feel about His Majesty, how am I going to feel about that? So I started to get quite, you know, nervous, as you expect. But actually, there was no need for that nerve, because every single piece of slight information I got was 100% of love of His Majesty. And, you know, that's a powerful thing right there. Rastafari and non-Rastafari is important place, but it's sacred and important for us as Rastafari people. It's a day centre. The BEMSCA, which is the Bath Ethnic Minority Senior Citizens Association, use the house, and they use it as a day centre 3 days a week. And His Majesty's wish, when he left the house to the city, was to use it as a day centre. He left it to the elders of the city, not as a day centre. He left it to the elders of the city as a gift. So pretty much throughout that whole time, it's been used for elders.
Mr. Blight, Red Queen and Boy. Ethiopia, we rally around the Lion of Judah. Selassie the First, the Almighty. No apology. There's a history of Rastafari which ones and ones can definitely study. But Rastafari come forward into a time where, even from a look at His Majesty visit Jamaica, and the ancients them say, what should we do, His Majesty? They say, your works are fruitful, organized and centralized. So from that time till this time, this is I and I mission. Now I and I try to come forward in this place to build unity. Everywhere and I try is unity. Rastafari is united. When you look at if you look at the words of His Majesty, which is I and I able, you will see Rastafari mission clearly set out before I and I. It's like, if you look at the topics where His Majesty deal with, higher education, special education, general education, international relations, cultural relations, personal diplomacy, international politics, UN international, legal and constitutional, war and peace, transport, communication, health, light, power, security, domestic, agriculture, economic development, industrial development, and further on. But what I'm trying to say is Rastafari trod in His Majesty glory. Ones and ones have offices within Rastafari. So you might say, you might hear of the Nyabingi Order, EABIC, Church of Salvation. You might hear of the EWF. You might hear of many Rastafari movements, organizations, social enterprises doing the work of Rastafari in different departments. Sometimes when you're doing a work, you have to keep focus. So, you know, it might look like, so someone might see someone doing that and someone doing that. Imagine the ants community. You know, when you see the ants working together, even though the black ants might be small, but in unity, we gather all the resources I and I need. So we try to organize, centralize. I and I, you know, even when you think about I and I farm Lions Den Farm as director for employment creation, you know, social inclusion, and also, you know, musical entertainment for ones that want music with a message. Likewise, the works of I and I hands where I and I also bring to Rastafari is, you know, I and I is like a voice and data communications engineer, you know, which is I and I repatriation ticket. And when I and I think of repatriation, it's an accurate science. You know, it's not a song that I and I sing. It's an accurate science which I and when it's a repatriation, you know there's plane there and then one can book a flight, but likewise repatriation have a certain collective element within it, a certain amount of skills and things what we bring forward when we trad in. We trad in here and there's a lot of things which I and I can use wisely, especially within technology and thing. As Majesty speak of how technology has even transformed parts of the Sahara. So, and agriculture is Rastafari, you know, main works of I and I hands that we try to really, because with agriculture I and I will have a firm basis for anything that I and I do. I and I eat food, drink water, natural spring water. You know, Rastafari interest is water. See what I say? Food, life, food with energy. Because when I want success in life, you have to know, say, I and I have to try with all the essential things that I and I need, which is health, strength, mental stability. It's a package and it's a journey, it's not just one place. And Rastafari have to achieve that in this time because I and I is joyful. Regardless of what happened through many things within Rastafari, I and I hold I and I inner peace and joy. Humbleness, spreading love because love is the truth and love is the foundation. Love, Congo. Foundation which all was created. So we are united even by the very aspect of nature. Rastafari is not confused with that. I and I is here today working in unity. So I'd really love to hear some of what the item must say as well. So I mean Barbara Anna Blake look at our Rastafari Global Council as the third generation of Rasta. But at the same time, you know, there's a time in Rastafari where one's become mature in Rastafari and embrace and soak in everything from the root. You know, Naya Bingi Ada coming straight up. And we give thanks for life and we give thanks to the nourishment of the root. There's certain aspects of Rastafari that is just foundation. Can't be moved. So I say like a listed building. You come in there, just have it. It's remaining. So let's give thanks to life and move on. More life,
Rastafari Global Council. Now let the words of I and I mouth and the agitation of I and I art always be acceptable in the sight of the true and living eye. Eloi, Baba Janai. Kadamawi Isle Selassie, the first. Yeah, ho. Barakim, Baraka, Sila, playing higher, no, Ras is in the area, I have to chant one song, you know, Sila, playing higher, no, Baraka in the area.
Smoke the earth, blaze up the chalice, that'll give me strength and knowledge. So we chant, smoke the earth, blaze up the chalice, that'll give me strength and knowledge. So we chant, smoke the earth, blaze up the chalice, that'll give me strength and knowledge. So we chant, smoke the earth, blaze up the chalice, that'll give me strength and knowledge. So me have the tie with the gold string on it. Wrap it up, strap it up, be Latin with it. Ganja in a me brain, send me into this. Then maybe Congo drum me start into it. Yo, raise your hand from your into this. And you never left the house without a ganja spliff. Call me the ganja chemist. And I check me get the weed like man a pharmacist. Yo, hey, let's get the revolution started. Load up each chalwa and then me spark it. Hey, me take 2 drops.